A documentary history of South Africa, from pre-colonial roots to post-apartheid challenges. By synthesizing historical timelines, cultural narratives, and modern critiques, this account weaves together the complex tapestry of South Africa's past and present. Pre-colonial foundations and early European contact, 4th century 1652. South Africa's history begins long before European colonization, with indigenous San and Khoikhoi peoples inhabiting the region for millennia. By the 4th century, Bantu-speaking migrants from Central and East Africa began settling in the eastern and northern regions, introducing agriculture, ironworking, and centralized governance structures. These groups, including the Xhosa and Zulu, established thriving societies based on cattle herding and trade networks. 46. The arrival of Portuguese explorer Bartolomeu Dias in 1488 marked Europe's first contact with southern Africa. Dias's landing at Mossel Bay opened the door for subsequent expeditions, including Vasco da Gama's 1497 voyage around the Cape of Good Hope. However, sustained European settlement began only in 1652, when the Dutch East India Company, VOC, established a refreshment station at Table Bay under Jan van Riebeeck. This outpost, later known as the Cape Colony, aimed to supply ships traveling to Asia, but soon expanded into a settler colony, displacing indigenous communities and importing enslaved people from Asia and other African regions. 412. Second, colonial expansion and conflict, 1652 to 1910. The 18th and 19th centuries saw escalating tensions between European powers, indigenous groups, and Boer settlers, descendants of Dutch colonists. Key developments include British annexation. The British seized the Cape Colony in 1795, permanently annexing it in 1806 after the Napoleonic Wars. This shift introduced English legal systems and intensified conflicts with Boers resistant to British rule. 412. The Great Trek, 1835 to 1840. Disillusioned Boers migrated inland to establish independent republics, Transvaal, Orange Free State, clashing with Zulu and other African kingdoms. The 1838 Battle of Blood River, where Voortrekkers defeated Zulu forces, became a foundational myth for Afrikaner nationalism. 46. Mineral discoveries. The 1867 diamond rush in Kimberley and 1886 gold discovery in the Witwatersrand transformed South Africa's economy. Cecil Rhodes, a British imperialist, exploited these resources through monopolies like De Beers, while migrant labor systems entrenched racial hierarchies. 412. Anglo-Boer Wars, 1880 to 1902. British ambitions to control gold-rich territories led to two devastating wars against Boer republics. The Second Boer War, 1899 to 1902, saw Britain employ scorched earth tactics in concentration camps, killing tens of thousands of Boer civilians and black Africans. 3. Apartheid, legalized oppression, 1948 to 1994. The 1948 election of the National Party, NP, institutionalized apartheid, apartness, a system of racial segregation designed to preserve white minority rule. Key policies included Population Registration Act, 1950, classified citizens by race, white, black, colored, Indian, restricting movement, employment, and education. Forced removals. Over 3.5 million non-white South Africans were displaced into impoverished homelands like Bophuthatswana. State violence. The 1960 Sharpeville Massacre, 69 killed, and 1976 Soweto Uprising, 600-plus deaths, exemplified the regime's brutality. Nelson Mandela's African National Congress, ANC, shifted from nonviolent resistance to armed struggle, leading to his 1964 life sentence. International isolation grew through sanctions and cultural boycotts, while internal resistance surged with movements like the United Democratic Front, UDF. By the 1980s, economic stagnation and global pressure forced the NP to negotiate. President F.W. de Klerk unbanned the ANC in 1990 and released Mandela, paving the way for multiracial elections in 1994. Fourth, post-apartheid South Africa, triumphs and struggles, 1994 present. Mandela's presidency, 1994-1999, symbolized hope, yet reconciliation faced immense challenges. Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, chaired by Desmond Tutu, the TRC exposed apartheid-era atrocities but drew criticism for granting amnesty to perpetrators like Eugene de Kock. Prime evil. Economic inequality. Despite black economic empowerment, BEE policies, wealth remains concentrated among white elites. Unemployment exceeds 30%, and townships like Soweto still grapple with poverty. Political turmoil. Jacob Zuma's presidency, 2009 to 2018, was marred by corruption scandals, e.g. in Kanla, Gupta family ties, and violent protests such as the 2012 Marikana massacre, 34 miners killed. 5. Cultural and documentary reckonings. Films like Legacy, The Decolonized History of South Africa, 2024, interrogate apartheid's enduring scars. Director Tara Moore, born to a biracial couple during apartheid, juxtaposes testimonies from the grandson of apartheid, architect H.F. Verwoerd, and ANC activists, to highlight systemic inequities in education, land ownership, and healthcare. Meanwhile, Miners Shot Down, 2014, and Long Night's Journey into Day, 2000, underscore unresolved labor and justice issues. Conclusion. The unfinished project of liberation. South Africa's history is a testament to resilience, but also a cautionary tale of unfulfilled promises. As scholar Timothy Niwamanya notes in his review of Legacy, nothing can be changed until it is faced, a call to confront colonial legacies and reimagine equity. While the 1994 miracle ended formal apartheid, the fight for economic justice, land reform, and social cohesion continues, echoing Steve Biko's assertion, "The greatest weapon in the hand of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed."